This is Joke for Healing. My name is Eva, EVA, and the topic for today is becoming a caregiver to my caregiver. And thank you so much, Charles, for being my guest today. Okay,
You're
if
quite
you
welcome,
don't
Eva.
understand me,
Okay. Yeah, I do. You're quite welcome, and I feel honored that you even asked me to participate.
thank you so much. And I want to say, if you don't understand me, ask me to repeat it again. Because a this is a gift you given to me to talk clearly. Will not be upset with you for doing that. You will help me. Feedback is a gift. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, recently you had knee surgery, right? And your wife had to be your caregiver. So she wants to be who was your caregiver during this time. And then what does that have to do with jokes? Okay?
My caregiver was my wife, and she was my only caregiver, although there was others who assisted from time to time. And as my caregiver, she had the responsibility of getting me transportation to and from not only the hospital, but also to and from my therapy appointments.
Okay. And then your wife had a stroke also.
She certainly did, and
So what happened? Share that story.
I had a stroke before I had my knee surgery, all right? And with that stroke, she lost some of her peripheral vision, all right? And as a result of that, we had to call upon family and friends to help us drive long distances for my therapy appointment, all right? But she was there with me for every therapy appointment as well as the surgery as well. So she has been by my side for the duration of my knee surgery, my therapy, and also my recovery.
Okay. Now this month is caregiver month. Now that you're her caregiver, tell us about that.
Well, as her caregiver, when she had her stroke, she was in the hospital quite some time. Matter of fact, it happened one evening when we were just home by ourselves, and she went into the stroke stage. And obviously, you know, your first action is to what's wrong, what's wrong. I kind of panicked at that point, called 911. And when they got to the home, they diagnosed her very quickly and took her to a level 1 trauma center, which was in the local area here. And that's where they treated her through the emergency room. And during that process, she was admitted to the hospital for, I think it was about maybe 7 to 10 days. And during that time, I was at the hospital every day. And for the first few days of her treatment, I was slept in the hospital. So the hospital became my home for several days. And through that process, we also had to talk to the doctors, all the different therapists, all the different specialists that came to the room because she wasn't in a state where she could comprehend all that information and ask the right questions. Because when you're in the hospital, uh, from something like a stroke, you need to focus on your continued well-being, your continued recovery, and you have to have an advocate. And being her husband, I was her advocate.
It was very good to see your son there. What role did he play?
You said who was there? I didn't quite catch that. Say that again for me.
Okay. I said it was good to see your son there. What role did he play?
Well, he has a background that's stronger than mine's in medication and things like that. Um, and with him being in the medical field, he knew questions to ask that I probably never thought about asking. Also, oftentimes when you're in a situation like that, the doctors and the PAs and the nurse practitioners, they come in, most of the time, I'm going to be real honest, they're in a hurry because they got others to see, and they download a ton of information on you that if you're not in that mind to receive that and understand it, you can miss something. But by him being there, he understood a lot of the terminology, okay? And one thing that was really, really key, I'm going to kind of fast forward for a second. When it came to discharge, and we've all, if you've been in the hospital, you know about the discharge process. You're glad to go and you're glad to get out, but discharge can be a episode within itself. And when they gave us the medication list, he said, "Let me take a look at that, Dad." And he began to go through the medication list of all the things they told that she needed to take uh, after she was released from the hospital. And there were a couple of medications on there that were duplicates. And honestly, Eva, if I had walked out there giving that medication, I never would have known what was duplicate medication. So she could have been given too much medication for her condition.
That's very good to know. Uh, what would you say is how what are the some of the ways that you was helpful for you regarding the stroke?
You're saying what other things were helpful?
Yes. Even now, what has been helpful for you?
Well, for helping, yeah, as a caregiver and being helpful to even now after she's months beyond her stroke, I still go to every doctor's appointment with her. I let her talk to the doctors directly, and I let her operate on her own unless I think she's missing something or she's not covering something that we've seen from our last visit to the visit that we're at, something that is almost sharing information. And one thing I clearly think, and we did it too, and I'll encourage anyone else to do it, make notes, make written notes, because when you get in the doctor's office, there are times when you forget what to say. They're talking to you, you're talking to them. They're trying to understand you, you're trying to understand them, and you can forget some key points. And the minute you leave the doctor's office, you go, "Oh man, I wish I had told him that." So it's important to take notes and let the person who is ill, in this case, my wife, let her talk. Don't speak when she can speak, all right? But when she stumbles or when she's not hitting the key points, then at that point, there is time for me to engage and interject myself.
Now, thank you. That was good advice. I wish that I had know that also. Anything else you would like to say?
Well, I think one thing I would say, Eva, about being a caregiver, either for my spouse or my spouse for me, you have to be willing to do role reversals. Your roles change sometimes, or things that she would normally do when she was not 100%. I did those things, and vice versa for when I was not at 100%. She helped me do a lot of things that I guess you call it day-to-day chores, things like that. Uh, Also, it's a matter of uh, engaging yourself or reduce yourself to, like, I'm normally the trash person at the house, but during the time when I was able to mobilize myself, she became the trash person. All right. She's normally the culinary person in the home, but during the times when she could not, function well, I became culinary. And when I say culinary, if you don't know how to cook, you'll learn how to cook when your spouse is not able to cook.
You have to be flexible, and
Yes, you
you
do.
are an example of that. Okay. Uh, one of the things I had a stroke in January. It will be 2 years, and I wanted to share with the people my story, the thing that happened to me, and I know you have a good story, a short story to tell. So I wanted you to come on and share your story. Thank you very much.
Eva, if I may say
Okay.
something, all right, if I may say something, is that I share it with you and Sam and walk that journey with you. Not necessarily every day, but from your story, I gain strength. From Sam's caregiving for you, I gain even more strength. All right. Because you think you know what a person's going through until you see them. And an old cliche that I heard a while back was this: you may see my glory, but you don't know my story. All right. Because going through different things like that, it's easy to say, I would have done this, or I would have done that, or whatever. But until you have walked in a person's shoes during a situation of lost health, lost abilities, or diminished abilities, or things like that, you truly don't know. And as being a caregiver, you got to make sure during the process that you take care of yourself, because there's an old adage that says if you don't take care of yourself as a caregiver, the caregiver goes down, and who gives care at that point?
So true. That is so true. So, you look at the bottom of the screen, it says at Shoppa Healing. And we would appreciate if you did like us and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because that will tell you when there are new things. If you are a stroke, if you heal from a stroke, or you are a caregiver, or you just like to you want to know how I'm doing, this is the time to do it. Stroke for healing. You, one thing I have learned is to think differently, and that was the iPhone uses that. But for strokes, we have to think differently. So I'm trying to think differently, to do things differently. Thank you so much for taking the time to be interviewed.
And I thank you. And if I
And
could say once again, I feel it is a privilege that I'm able to talk with you, and I'm even more honored that you asked me. Thank you, Eva.
okay, you're welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you very much. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe for Joe Healing and hit that notification bell. And I want to end by saying, don't forget to be a blessing whatever day or time you are in, and be a blessing to someone else.
Amen.
Don't forget to be a blessing for someone else this caregiver month. Thank you. Bye for now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Um, Eva Johnson. Okay. One is you're my hero, and the others, you're the wind beneath my wings. All right. So never underestimate how encouraging you can be